How's it going, man?
Oh, pretty good.
I got really busy, dude, and I forgot you were coming by today, man.
Well, what, are we not doing any filming, or what?
Yeah, I can't do filming, man. I gotta go into town. I gotta buy soap.
Why?
See, it all starts like this, when you're naked, in the middle of nowhere in the forest. This is how we're supposed to live. When we're born, we hit the ground, we got nothing. We're just this soft pink flesh in a big scary world, where it's cold and wet. Which is weird, because why the hell are we living in regions that are this cold and wet? I mean, look at me. I got no hair on my body. I'm not supposed to be out here like this. I'm supposed to be in a warm, temperate region, maybe with a beach, getting a tan. You know, that's where I'm supposed to be, but no. Some asshole decided he was going to move out in the middle of frickin' nowhere where it's really cold and we can't walk around naked. Who's thinking? That's what I want to know. So what you need to do is you need to think about what kind of clothing you're going to buy. You need to think about what kind of clothing you're going to go and dress yourself with, because everything you have is a tool. This is what you start with. This is the beginning right here. This is where it's at. So what you need is you need your gaunch line, man. You need your first line gear. When you hit the ground naked in the middle of the forest, you're cold and wet and you don't know what the fuck's going on, you need to figure out what's the first piece of equipment you need, the gaunch line. And the gaunch line kit you need before anything else is a belt.
Patrolling Technical Specifications, file number 029, Equipment Belt.
Funny thing about belts is there's a lot of things you can do with a belt. A belt could be anything from a piece of rope that goes around your waist or to the high-end gear. WOGs, of course, use function over form always. But let's look at all the belts so we see why we make that decision. Everything you choose has to be chosen for a reason with high-end capabilities. First, we have your standard piece of belt. Now, this is a pretty cheap belt. It's got a little clasp, goes together. It's white. It's pretty gay. But to illustrate the point, this is your beginning point for belts. And you get into the debate and fashions and stuff like that if you happen to be buying new, but nobody buys new. If you buy new, you have to buy recycled. This is a little bit more the speed of what we'd want. This would be, you know, Britney Spears would wear that. For the WOGs, this would probably be your low-end belt you'd start with. Something like this, $7. On one side you've got camouflage, on the other side you've got khaki. These buckles come off. You can swap the strap over, you're good to go. You can actually, if you didn't like this, you could go down to a store like Mountain Equipment Co-op or something like that, where you can buy just the strapping raw and do it that way. You get a really strong belt that way, but again, it's all about the buckle. If your buckle fails, you just got like a piece of string, essentially. Now, a lot of people go for the Western notion of leather. Man's been wearing leather for so freaking long, it's not even funny. I don't really care so much about the humane aspects to it. I think it's unfortunate we got to kill cows, but I got to keep my pants up, so there. This was the standard for such a long time. And people think that this is only your two choices. You can either go with a good leather belt or a crappy little fabric belt. And that's not the way it is. You can get into the heavier leather belts. This is a little bit, we're starting to get a little tactical here. The brown, well, this is generally designed for the cowboy type, the country worker, that kind of a thing. Now, you can't really go wrong with it because, I mean, they're very, very strong and they're very well constructed. And quite often, they come with these little things that are like secret pockets on the inside, where, of course, people go, wow, that's really cool, you can put money in there. You know, no, you don't put money in there, you put handcuff keys in there. If I had a zipper belt like this, I'd probably roll up about $200 in cash in American funds, and I'd probably put some handcuff keys in there. And if you wanted to, there's a few companies that make very, very small knives that you could put in there, and you could wear that so that it doesn't bend or whatever. That's a really good idea to have that with you. That way you're never really screwed. I usually myself, I didn't wind up going with this. I had a belt like this for a while there. They're very, very strong, but depending on your lifestyle. My lifestyle is a little bit different than that. I'm pretty into the hard use tack gear. Your point where you're going to have failure is, of course, with these belts is that these holes, they start to stretch, they get out of shape, and 6 months down the road, you don't buy kit new, you buy kit used, right? How's this going to look after it's wet for 4 days? Well, leather rots. It's flesh. It won't last as long in extreme use as more synthetic material. So it's better to go with a synthetic material over leather, not because of animal rights, because it makes sense. Now, a lot of people have said that there's an idea to go with suspenders. And suspenders are really, really great. These are bright red suspenders. People with wog haircuts should not wear bright red suspenders because the skinhead movement has made red suspenders pretty much untouchable for everyone. You don't really have a place to put any of your gear that you'd put on your belt, so tactical suspenders, although functional, are used to keep up your pants versus your belt, which is where you keep your kit. For keeping up your pants, your suspenders actually do a better job. So if you're so skinny that you need to actually wear suspenders, buy suspenders, and also buy a belt so that you keep them both. Or you can get yourself a nice shoulder rig and hook it to your belt, and that way your shoulder rig turns into suspenders as well. Kind of a dual purpose sort of thing there. There's a company in Vancouver called Calder Ridge, and they make some tack gear too, and they make actually some pretty good stuff. They're a new company. They actually came up with a line of tactical suspenders, which I find to be somewhat humorous. But they do make a really good shoulder rig, which has served me well for quite some time. So I'm kind of a fan of Calder Ridge. You get good quality stuff made of heavy cordura with some good buckles on it, and you're not paying through the nose like you will on like Eagle Industries, London Bridge, or for one of the companies that make the really, really high-end gear. Anything that you're going with here, you want to make sure we're, again, going for strength. Moving from the suspenders, you can get into the simple synthetic belts. Now these ones here have Velcro on the inside. The reason for that is for when they're done up, you don't run into that loop problem. The thing just goes around your waist, and when you do it up, the Velcro holds it in place. Velcro is surprisingly strong. You wouldn't think that it would handle on something like this, but you'd actually have to go through about 8 inches of soft Velcro in order to break that free. It's not going to happen. This is your low-end belt. This is the beginning point for the wog. Belt like this, they run for like $11. So you can pay 20-some-odd bucks for a leather piece of shit that's going to rot on you in the rain, or you can get a synthetic belt, which is space age and wog approved. Moving from that, we can go into the higher end belts of this type. Exactly the same thing, only it's got some extra features to it, moving right up. Price point on this guy here, you're up to 20 bucks.